the Canine Wellness Cookbook, and she is here to tell us all about it. Hi, and welcome to another Coaches Collab. I am certified holistic pet health coach, Melissa Natanson, and today I am so excited to introduce you to Nicole Stavkowski. I was worried I was going to get that one a little bit wrong. Nicole is a professional canine nutritionist, a certified holistic pet health coach, and she has recently released the Canine Wellness Cookbook, and she is here to tell us all about it. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. This is going to be such a fun conversation. And the Canine Wellness Cookbook has really been a labor of love for you. Tell us a little bit about what got you there.
So, I've always wanted to write a cookbook my entire adult life. I've always wanted to write a cookbook, but I never really expected it to be a book for dogs.
You thought you were going to
Um,
write a human one?
yeah, absolutely. And then the path that I've taken in my life, and all of a sudden I thought, you know what? Like, I need my own cookbook. I need a cookbook to write everything down, all my recipes for my dogs. And that's where the cookbook was born.
That's pretty awesome. I want to show this right now. When you were writing this cookbook, you were telling me that one of your favorite things is food formulation and that you took a science-based nutrition course. Tell us a little bit about that course and why you like to formulate food.
So I like everything to be measured and weighed, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist.
So if,
When
if
it
you were at my house and I was throwing everything on a bowl, you would.
Yeah, I'd probably bring you a scale.
Okay.
No. So that's where the food formulation came in. This way I know exactly what's going into the recipes. I know exactly what's going into the bowl. I know that it's complete and balanced. You've got your proper calcium phosphorus ratios, your zinc and copper. All of this aligns and balances so you know you're giving your dog the absolute best nutrition.
That's right. And show us your book. There's everybody. I want you to know that we're going to talk about this more later too, but I want you to know that there are links in the comments. If you would like to buy Nicole's book, the Canine Wellness Cookbook, and she might love her scale, but the reason that she did the cookbook is because she wants to make it easy for you to make awesome, nutritious meals for your pets because as we all know, and we talk about all the time, we know that fresh food is best. And this cookbook makes it easy because, Nicole, you've got recipes in there that have got all this measuring already figured out, and you've tried to make it easy for these pet parents. What are some of the ways that you did in your cookbook that made it easy for pet parents and you took all of that calculation out?
So one of my favorite things in the bottom of all the recipes, there's like an approximate weight. It's very approximate, but when you go through the book, there's feeding guidelines and there's measurements. So you can figure out how many recipes you might need to feed your particular dog, which that for me, always trying to calculate. Sometimes it would take me 5, 6, 7 times of making a recipe before I knew how many I needed to feed my dogs. So this kind of takes that guesswork out. For me, I feed 85 pounds worth of dogs. So I know how much I need to make each week, how many of those recipes I need to use.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's back up a little bit. Before you wrote this fabulous cookbook, you were a canine nutritionist and specializing in food formulation. You're also a certified holistic pet health coach. What kind of when was the moment when you're like, I want to do that? And you saw Dr. Ruth's program.
I've always been interested in nutrition, but the Dr. Ruth program and the nutrition program, they go hand in hand because nutrition is all about health and
Right.
trying to combine both, right? Like I don't feel like I could have written the cookbook without having the knowledge of the organ systems and everything that we've learned in the Dr. Ruth program.
Right. And the great thing about Dr. Ruth's program is we get the background in functional medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, environmental factors, and nutrition as well, because we learn how to formulate the famous crock-pot diet. And so, Nicole, you were able to take that in addition to your nutritional background for pets and put this cookbook together.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
I love it. That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit more about you. You're joining us from British Columbia.
Yep, I'm in Fort St. John, very small town. We're buried in quite a bit of snow right now.
Oh, yeah.
-22. It's a little chilly out there.
Right. And
So
tell us about your animals.
so
You've got three
I
dogs.
have a bit of a zoo. Yeah,
Okay.
I have 3 dogs, 2 parrots, and 2 cats. So it's always very loud and very hustle bustle. I do the same. I could probably write a cookbook for birds because I also am creating recipes for them all the time as well because they eat fresh food and
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
if we have anybody who is a parent, a parrot, pet parent, say that 3 times fast.
yeah.
Parrot, pet parent, can they contact you for info on
They
diet?
they probably could. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about with your kitties? Do you make them fresh food as well? What do you
I try. They're pretty picky. They're 15 and 14 years old, and they're a tough bunch. I've tried to get them onto the fresh cooked food, and they are not digging it. So they'll stick with their raw or they'll stick with their canned food. But yeah, it's tough. They're a tough sell, those two.
well, kitties are a tough crowd.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
one behind me that's sleeping, and I hope that he stays that way because if he wakes up, I forgot that he was in the room. He'll be all over this keyboard. Maybe it might be new Maui Christmas early. I don't know if you can see Christmas. Love it. Okay, Nicole, I want to hear more about you. So we were talking earlier that before you wrote this cookbook, you had a treat company. And then tell me about how the rescue really changed things for you.
So, yes, I had a dog treat company. It was quite successful. I had quite a few locations. I absolutely loved it. I had healthy human quality dog treats. They were delicious. I used to eat them all the time. They were peanut butter,
Oh,
and my customers used to get so grossed out. And I tried to remove that ick factor, right? Like that. Why does everything we feed the dogs have to be so disgusting? It doesn't. It can be delicious.
hey, have you ever tried
And
the crock pet? I have. It's great.
yeah, when I was healing my own gut, I thought about going on the crock bed because I'm like, hey, if it's working for my dogs, it's gonna work for me too.
That's right. That's right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was really good. I ended up learning a little bit. That's how I got into raw for my own animals, and then eventually into cooked, as the raw was not working for one of my guys. And
Why do you
um,
feel like the raw wasn't working?
I honestly don't know because one of my guys absolutely thrives off of it. And I don't know if it was the temperature or I don't believe it was lacking, maybe a little bit of vegetable here and there, but it was a really great quality food. So I honestly am not entirely sure. I think just every dog is different.
That's right.
And
Well, and that's what we emphasize being certified holistic pet health coaches. We like to meet people where they're at. We like to meet their pets where they're at. And not every dog does great on a raw diet. And some dogs don't do great on a cooked diet. That's what's
yeah,
great about Nicole. And what's great about all the certified holistic pet health coaches is we can help meet you where you're at and formulate diets that are going to help your pet either thrive more, be on the pathway to health, or if your pet is dealing with some issues, dealing with some GI issues. Nicole, you mentioned that you were thinking about the crock pet in regards to your own GI issues. I know I've told this story a lot, but I'll tell it with you too. When Darla, my dog, was first diagnosed with massive intestinal and stomach ulcers, bleeding ulcers, and standard care had vet care had by and large failed me. I had a background in human holistic health, and I applied a lot of what I knew about the GI system to Darla and started giving the GI herbs that I used with her or with myself to her.
wow,
And yes, and after 6 months, of sulcrophate didn't work on her ulcers. And usually sulcrophate's a good one. That's a good one to coat. Cyprium and marshmallow root is what finally got her over the hump, that and feeding fresh food. So it's really amazing to see what can happen when we're feeding fresh food.
Those are two of my favorites too, by the way. Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Marshmallow
yeah,
Graham.
yeah, yes.
Okay. You use them on your pets as well?
I do. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If I'm doing a GI reset, that's definitely part of my
Ooh,
routine.
GI
Yeah.
reset. Okay, tell us more about this. What's your GI reset? This is fun.
So for myself, I've had a few of my own. You never know what they get into. I have a puppy that loves to eat anything. So I've mastered the GI reset. So we usually do a 24-hour fast and hold. I make my own bone
And you
broth.
do with puppies as well?
I did. I shouldn't say puppy. She's puppy to me. She's a year and a half old.
Okay.
Um, Yeah. So then I've also done, then I'll do a bone broth in between. So they're still getting some nutrition, which by the way, there is a bone broth recipe in the book as well.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, I threw that one in there. And so I'll do a hold for 24 hours on food. And then I'll slowly introduce just turkey and pumpkin. We skip the rice.
That's right.
We skip the chicken. We skip the beef.
And why,
If it's
anybody who may not know, why do we skip the rice and the beans?
dogs just don't need it. Their bodies aren't meant to process it, and you're just going to further inflame the body. And when you're already dealing with an inflamed system, you need things to calm, not bump up that heat. So,
well, and I think that it's hard to sometimes relearn that with pet parents when we've had a history of vets saying when there's diarrhea, the age-old chicken and rice diet. But we have now learned that dogs lack the enzyme in their mouth. They need amylase to process carbohydrates. They now do make it in their pancreas, but only after a genetic mutation, after they've gotten through this. So if we're giving carbs when we've got an upset tummy or pancreatitis or something else, it actually can exacerbate the situation because it's putting more stress on the pancreas.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And that seems to be a common misconception with the pancreatitis, that it's caused by
High fat.
but
Yeah.
it's caused by the carbs.
Correct.
People really need to.
If your dog takes down a couple of cheeseburgers and a slab of fat, then there could be an issue. It can happen, but generally it's the fat mixed with the carbs that the pancreas can't take.
Yeah.
Okay, we got on we skirted off.
We did.
Okay, back to the GI reset.
Okay, so after the bone broth, I do the turkey and the pumpkin, and I'll do that for several days. And I like to add activated charcoal. That has been my absolute lifesaver. So I tend to make a little activated charcoal, slippery elm with the bone broth if I can get them to take it. Yeah. And that right there. And then you've got your probiotics. I'll add those. And usually it takes, I would say, 2-3 days if I can catch it early enough. And I can usually set them back on the right track. And then I'll usually follow through with high dose of probiotics for a couple weeks afterwards.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk about a little bit more about your pets. Is there a pet in your past that really was the catalyst for you wanting to change and getting into fresh food?
Yes, I had a German Shepherd who had constant diarrhea, and he was really young. And this was right when I was also getting into my dog treat company. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. And when I was at one of my first markets selling my dog treats, I was introduced to a raw food dealer here in town. And she's still my go-to gal. She's awesome. She's got a great line of dog food. That's awesome. It completely changed because I went through bag after bag of dog food and I just kept having the same result. And I didn't know any better at the time. And this was the first time I really learned about raw, and it completely changed him. He's 9 years old now, and he's like a puppy. He's doing amazing. So
that's fantastic. I love to hear things like that. Did we talk about what made you want to start the treat company? I don't know if we did or not. Can you share that?
The reason I wanted to start the pet treat company, I watched the movie Pet Fooled on Netflix.
Oh, whoa.
That also changed my world. But at the time, I still wasn't quite ready to do the switch into raw, although it was only a few weeks after I started the pet food company or the petri company that I ended up switching over. But yeah, that was the main reason. I thought, you know what? There's at least I can do this small change. I can promote a healthier option for something pet related.
Nicole, I'm so impressed. That's just awesome that you did that. We all have our moments of inspiration when we want to do better for our pets and the pet parents. And it seems like the more we know, the more we need to know and the more questions we have. But one of the most incredible things about being a certified holistic pet health coach is the team that we have and the continuing education that we get every day. And we're in the know on what's going on with pet food. And we learn about things like you saw on pet food, the high pressure processing. We're not quite sure what kind of mystery meats or rendered or sick animals may be used in kibble. Now, we never want to shame if you're feeding kibble, but know that there is better options. There could be some acceptable kibble, but at the end of the day, your pets, your doggy and your kitty, and maybe even your parrot are designed to, I was throwing that in there.
Oh, yeah.
Are designed to eat fresh food. Kibble came around and it's really a food of convenience. And I know sometimes we can't always like cook for ourselves and it's hard. Nicole, what would you say to someone who's, I don't even cook for myself? How the heck do you want me to make something out of this cookbook? What can you tell them that can make it easy for them?
One of the great things is dogs are not culinary critics. They're pretty easygoing when it comes to food. So I love to cook. I really do. But I don't love cooking for the dogs all the time. So I wanted to make it really easy and convenient. This is a toss and go type thing. You don't need to have knife skills. You don't need to have any culinary skills. You literally toss it in and go, and then I blend it. I blend it all up. And then I don't have to worry about chopping and dicing, and I give everything a good wash, throw it into the crock pot. Easy peasy.
That's amazing. I was just going to ask where you toss and go, like in a pot, in a crock pot. Is it really, can they do it in a pot as well as a crock pot? What's your recommendations there?
So for me, so in the book, I do actually have a few different cooking methods for myself. I like to cook a month's worth at a time.
Oh,
so I invested in a few turkey roasters.
Oh, cool.
Two turkey roasters. I could probably feed a month and a half out of those two giant turkey roasters. I also invested in bus pans, restaurant bus pans. Those have really helped my prep, my thawing. I have a place to thaw everything before I throw it into the roasters. And another investment that I love was my immersion blender. I have an immersion blender it's huge. Yeah. I have to stand on a chair.
Me too.
Because it's so big.
Yeah.
But those are my three big investments that I now spend about 2 hours a month on food prep. And that's including
for all of your animals, for your whole crew?
2 hours that I've gotten it down to. Yeah.
I feel like you've got the life hack, Nicole, when it comes to pet food.
I've tried to make things convenient and easy. And if you can't find 2 hours in a month to cook for your dog, then maybe you need to settle down a little. Find some time for yourself.
That's good advice during this holiday season when we're all a little wound up and stressed out and our animals are stressed out. But at the base of that, that was really some good advice because our animals need for us to take the time. And you know what I think is the most important ingredient when we make dog food? Love. That's right. I knew you were going to get that. And when we're making it ourselves, then we get to add the most special ingredient of all, which is love. And I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I do a little Reiki on the food too before I give it to Darla. Then, every single ingredient that's going in there, and it's peace of mind for me. And I think that the peace of mind that we have with knowing what's going in the food totally just wipes away the amount of time or oh, I don't even have time to cook for myself. And if as a society we don't have time to cook for ourselves, that's a whole nother show that we should
Yeah,
probably talk
that's
about.
very true. Yeah. Oh.
But so I don't want you to give anything away because I would love for people to check out your book and buy your book. I got to take a sneak peek at it and it's very informative. I'm a canine nutritionist as well, and I love what Nicole did. Tell me some of the favorite things that you like to use without giving too much away.
So I feel like there's a few really easy core ingredients that you need to balance your dog food. It's nothing super crazy, but you need a little bit of seafood, you need a calcium source, and generally if you want to skip any sort of supplements, like synthetic out of the bottle supplements, you'll need a mix of proteins. So I usually do two different proteins. So whether it be pork and turkey or beef and pork, they all kind of complement each other really well.
Okay.
So beef is one of the ones where you can formulate still without, because you've got your beef liver, right? And your beef liver is your powerhouse as well.
Multivitamin.
Yes, nature's multivitamin. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
How do you feel about pets that have food intolerances then and maybe need to just stick with one protein? I like your method with combining two proteins together. Like we've always heard that turkey and sardine are really great together. You've got a little surf and turf in a different kind of way because the sardines kind of balance out the DHA, EPA, omega-3 profile. I may have that wrong. You're the nutritionist.
You're right. You
You're
got
the
it.
So what's an easy way to kind of balance that out if a dog needs to stick with one protein? Is that where you would maybe add in more organs?
Yeah, you can add in more organs. There's definitely the options of kidneys and liver and heart. I love heart. I use heart every day for my dogs.
In Chinese medicine, we learned that you want to feed the organ that's deficient. So if you've got little doggies that are suffering with murmurs, MBD, any kind of cardiac issue, hearts are your key.
Absolutely. Yes. So it's definitely possible. You can also use bioavailable supplements. So I like bio zinc and
Ooh,
ionic manganese in replace of the seafood. And like I said, beef is a really easy one to balance all on its own. And if by chance not one of these recipes work for somebody, they can reach out, I can formulate and make that happen for that single protein
what a
source.
smoking hot deal that is. Okay, for anybody, if you've got questions, and I see that we've got a few coming up, now is the time to ask Nicole your questions. But before we get to those questions, I just want to take a step back. And if you would like to book with Nicole and have a consult with her, a link to her website is in the comments. I also want to talk a little bit about this certified holistic pet health coaching program. If you are interested in becoming a certified holistic pet health coach, Dr. Ruth Roberts holds monthly webinars so you can pick her brain and find out more. It is an amazing, well-rounded education where you become part of the most incredible team I've met in my whole life. And I am not exaggerating on that. I've got colleagues like Nicole, and everybody has their niche, whether it's being a food formulator or specializing in kidney issues or GI issues or whatever you've got. And we've all got each other to bounce ideas off of. So it's
It's amazing.
really, it is amazing. What's your favorite part about being a certified holistic pet health coach?
Like you're saying, the support. I love the support system, the continued education. We get so much help and we get so much training, so much knowledge. And then we get to go and help all these animals that most people don't. By the time they've come to us, a lot of times we're their last hope.
That's right. Yeah.
And hopefully one day it'll be the other way around. But for now, I accept that is us. And we get to help. We get to see the impact that we can make.
That's right. Oh, that gave me goosebumps because for a lot of people, I know I've had clients myself that I was their last hope. and it took a few changes. And when we talk about holistic, maybe sometimes people think, oh, holistic's a little woo-woo, really funny, but we want to think about it is it's the whole. We're looking at the whole body, mind, body, and soul. We look at everything. And when I say soul, what's your pet's stress level? Are they doing enrichment activities? Are they getting out on walks enough? If you're a cat, maybe not taking them on a walk, or a parrot, also not walking. But
And
we
so many environmental factors that we don't think about. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the environmental factors that that you think about that you think most pet parents wouldn't know can be a factor in their pet's health?
I'm going to say the biggest one is floor cleaners.
Oh, yeah.
Floor cleaners, the Mr. Clean and the Lysol and those floor cleaners, and these poor naked little feet walking on them day after day and ingesting these cleaners and affecting their entire bodies, their livers, it's everything.
Their little endocrine and lymphatic systems are a lot smaller than we are, and the concentration of toxins can be a lot higher for them. That's such a good point, Nicole. I love how you saw their little naked feet. That's a good way to say it. We have socks on most of the time, or we have house shoes on, or at least I'm very European in that way that I wear my house shoes. But yes, they have their little naked feet. So I'm a big fan of water and vinegar. It can do a lot.
You absolutely.
And again, candles. I had a friend with a kitty cat who got a hold of me and said, my kitty cat has been sneezing up a storm and just not acting normal. And I happen to know that this friend is a huge fan of everything Christmas scented and candles. I said, I'm sorry. I know you love them. Your kitty cat does not. Take those away and let's see how she's feeling.
I bet you it's a huge difference.
Yep. Okay. So I just want to clarify. Let's see here. We have one question here that intentional concoctions wanted to clarify chicken heart. What do you think of chicken heart when you're talking about hearts?
I do like chicken hearts. I usually use more beef just because it's easier to slice. But chicken hearts, absolutely. They'll have taurine and coenzyme Q10. It's used as a muscle meat, so you can add that into a portion of it into your dog food. I like to dehydrate, so I'll just slice it thin and
that's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as a food formulator, I have a tricky question for you here. Sorry, I'm gonna put you on the spot, even though I said I wasn't. Okay, if a pet has an intolerance to chicken and muscle meat, a heart is considered a muscle meat. Would that be included in the food intolerance?
It can be. I think that's more of a trial and error type thing. It can be, but it also cannot be. Some animals can be allergic to pork, but could still tolerate the pork heart or the pork liver. Yeah. So that's going to be a trial and error type situation. That's also with eggs as well. A lot of people ask, can I get my dog's eggs? Most of the time they can still tolerate eggs.
Yeah. Darla's got an intolerance to chicken, but she loves eggs. And I think a couple times a week, we share eggs. It's fine.
Yeah.
She loves it. She kind of wishes, Mama, are you going to share your eggs with me today? When we eat clean as humans, if I'm having blueberries and eggs for breakfast, she can share my breakfast with me.
Absolutely. Yes. And I use those to boost up calcium and
That's awesome. Nicole, is there anything else that you would want people to know about you? It's been so fun, like getting to know who you are, and I'm so impressed with your ability to formulate all these diets. Nicole showed me her food formulator. I was blown away. It's impressive. She's got it down and she is the real deal. Is there anything you would want people to know about you in your book so they would know that you are the right certified holistic pet health coach for them?
About the book, know that you're feeding the best. Know that you've got a good balance. Your dog's going to thrive feeding these fresh foods. About me, I don't know about me. What I want them to know.
I just still am like not getting over the parrot part. That's fun.
They've taught me a lot. They've taught me a lot about the environmental factors.
That's right.
If it's going to kill them instantly, it's going to kill me slowly. So that's something I always keep in mind, and they've really opened my eyes. Yeah.
It's amazing to think that you cannot cook with Teflon in your house if you have a parrot.
Another thing people don't know, the bags that you can cook your turkeys in,
Oh, yeah.
those will kill a parrot in about 30 minutes.
Because of the
So,
PCB, the phthalates
yeah,
is in the plastic. Yee.
yeah, and you're cooking your food in that and then ingesting that into your body.
You know what? That
Yeah.
brings up another thing I was going to ask you, and I missed it before. What do you store your food in? We have a lot of
Uh,
people.
I try to use, I'm not the best for this one. You know what? I'm trying to invest in some silicone bags.
Yeah,
They can get pricey.
they
I'm a
can.
bad one. I put them into containers, and I know it's not the best, but
Yeah.
I portion my meals for 3 days at a time for all 3 dogs. And yeah, but I'm always using stainless steel bowls, never plastic.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Storage is a tough issue.
It is hard. And especially, I think when you make the commitment to feed fresh food, I feel like you have to have an animal freezer sometimes. It can be easier to store it without it, but
Too.
I have had really good luck with wide mouth mason jars, believe it or not, if you let them cool first and don't fill all the way up to the top. You can freeze them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, been
Yeah,
good.
that's really smart.
It's been because I'm really weird about plastic. I think once you have a family member with cancer or a pet with cancer, you become hyper vigilant when it comes to PCBs, phthalates, or these toxins from the environment or plastic in your system. And
Absolutely.
I said no to that a long time ago. Okay, Nicole, are you ready for my favorite part?
Okay.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
I had the same shirt on. I just wish this is a little bit higher.
Yeah. Oh, there. We're matchy, hey? Dog and cat.
Love it. It's like holiday coaches collab. Okay. Pet perks. Your top 3 things you love about the pet world. It could be anything. And pet peeves are if you could wave a magic wand, wipe it off the face of the planet, so our little pets wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. Which do you want to go first? You want to do perks?
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. So, one is actually all the opportunities that are coming about for pet lovers like me to take courses like Dr. Ruth, where we could make careers out of our passion. And this is new. This is new for us. And I think that part, I love it. Yeah.
I love that answer. Fantastic.
Another one is I like how people are starting to find natural options. Everybody's looking for natural ways to help their pets
Right.
and food options.
I agree. And I think we have to take the stigma away that natural or holistic or integrative is woo.
Yeah. Yes,
You know,
absolutely. It should just be the way. Like plants used to be our medicine.
they're
Why
not
are we
medicine, they're the original medicine.
exactly? Yes. That's 100%. And people I've noticed are starting to come back to that. They're starting to see the effects that the pharmaceuticals are doing and going back to the natural ways. And I love that.
That's right. That's right. We've got to be our own best advocate for not only ourselves, but for our pets too.
Yes.
Did you have
with that, this one, what's that?
I was just saying if you had a third one, but you did the transition yourself. See, you're amazing.
So my third one is in line with that, and it's CBD, the awareness of CBD. I get so excited when I watch one of the trainings in our program.
Yes.
I have to call my family members. I'm like, did you know? And I get genuinely excited by the use of CBD and all of the amazing things. I've seen it firsthand help my parents' dog, she was never actually diagnosed with anything. They never knew what was wrong with her, but she was so ill. She had gone to the vet on the Friday. They said, take her home for the weekend. Let her have her last few days, bring her back on Tuesday. It was a long weekend, and we'll put her down. And in that time, one of my dad's friends introduced him to CBD. And before the end of the weekend, this dog perked up, came back to life, and lasted another, I think, 5 years. Yes.
Whoa! That's
And
a
just,
testament.
I don't know what it was, but
Wow, that gave me goosebumps.
yeah, the dog was throwing up all the time, sick, just ill. And it just brought down the inflammation and it gave her years.
Right?
So
It
that,
just smooths out that nervous system and
yeah, absolutely. So
you know what I thought
that's
was
one of my,
interesting? That's a great one, but I was so fascinated to learn that dogs have the largest endocannabinoid system of any mammal, even more so than humans. So it's
right?
especially useful for them.
Which is why, again, why it's so scary when they get such a small amount of THC, because they have so many receptors that it just hits them a little, packs a bigger punch, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's that THC we've learned is good to reserve for the end if there's hospice care. That's the time that they can get a little high and feel
yeah.
good as your way out. Okay.
Right.
Yes, CBD for the win for
Yeah.
sure. I agree. And want to mention that there's several amazing CBD options on Dr. Ruth Roberts' website. Or again, if you have questions on how CBD could help your pet, please contact one of the coaches. And the coaches are listed in the comments. Okay, is it time for pet peeves or did you have any more perks?
I think that's it for my perks.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so my peeves. I'm gonna start with the lack of progress in the kibble industry. It's my biggest peeve. Why haven't we done better yet? Why do we still have this terrible product without any progress? That is one of my biggest peeves. I want to see progression.
Yeah, it's tough when we talk about how we love our vets, and we do. We need our vets. We need to partner with them. We need them for diagnosis. We need them for diagnostics. But their number one food option is still kibble.
Yeah.
And those top three that shall not be named,
Yes.
that they are as evil as Voldemort, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I agree. I agree 100%. I wish there was more education and I wish there was more. I wish we were doing more.
Yeah.
And then with that, I'm going to follow with prescription diets because there's no such thing as a prescription dog food. There is no medication in the food. Therefore, it shouldn't exist already.
I'm just going to ask you to explain that because there was some recent, I think, lawsuits regarding this, but we won't go there because Facebook is a little touchy. But yeah, there's nothing prescription in them. So in other words, it's just fancy marketing. Or what do you think?
And it might be a whole food added into that particular diet, like a vitamin E supplement or something like that, where why wouldn't we just add that into our food? Why wouldn't we just put a real solid source of vitamin E in there versus or different urinary diets that might have cranberry or might have this, might have that. I can add that in myself in a whole food form, knowing that I'm getting optimal nutrition.
And then you get
Yeah,
the added benefit of the vitamin C from the cranberries too, when you're adding them in a full
exactly.
form, in a bioavailable form. What would be
Absolutely.
a tip to pet parents that at this point are maybe feeding a high quality kibble and are a little hesitant to switch over, but maybe want to freshen the bowl a little bit? What would be your advice to them?
I would say even adding 30% fresh whole food will make a huge impact
Like
on
some
your
ground
dog's health.
beef or turkey? Would
Ground
you
beef,
recommend adding
turkey.
liver? I know you love liver.
I do. Don't do too much. You get gastro upset, but small amounts of liver. I love steamed veggies, zucchini, broccoli, celery, cauliflower. The possibilities are endless when it comes to vegetables. Fruit, you can add blueberries. My dogs love watermelon, cantaloupe, peas. They love the little snap peas and
Cute. We grow blackberries, and I try not to give a lot because they can add a little GI upset, but they fall off, and that's where little Darla goes first. She, she loves meat, but she would also be a good vegetarian. I'm not quite sure why, but she just loves it. And we're getting a lot of pineapple right now. I think it's pineapple season. So good bromelain, some little digestive enzymes,
yeah,
a little teeny piece of
absolutely.
pineapple.
Yeah, Tina, my trainer, actually, my teacher for my canine nutrition course, she grows her own dog garden and they get to go in. She takes them in every day and she puts foods that they love in there and they get to go. So that way they can choose their own nutrition, what they need that day,
That's
which I,
job mom goals right there.
right? Isn't that amazing?
Oh
Yeah.
my, she has a doggy garden. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have one next year.
Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is a doggy garden.
Yep, yes.
I
Oh,
love it. All right, Nicole, this has just been wonderful. And thank you for all your amazing information. And I'm going to plug you one more time. Please, if you would like to buy Nicole's book, please see the link to that book in the comments. It is available on Amazon. We are so very proud of her. She did amazing. And it's been a joy to have you here today. And speaking of joy, this is our last Coaches Collab until next year. And so, whatever your holiday season holds for you, may it be meowy and bright. And I hope there's lots of barks and paws in your life. We'll see you next year. Have a wonderful holiday season. And as always, sending lots of positive vibes.